Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for an informative and exciting Global Cruise Line webinar with Seabourn. My name is Johanna de Guzman. I am the Manager of Industry Relations for North American Travel Trade Membership here at CLIA, and I'm just going to quickly go through some housekeeping before introducing our presenter. The webinar will run for about 40 to 45 minutes with time for questions at the end. Please feel free to type your questions into the questions module of the webinar, and we will get to them at the conclusion of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel, CLIA Global. It is my pleasure to introduce our presenter, Mark Spillane. Mark is the Director of Expedition Sales at Seabourn and has had a focused career in luxury expedition cruising and has traveled to the Arctic, Antarctica, and many places in between. And with that, take it away, Mark.
Thank you so much, Johanna. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'm really excited to share all the latest excitement and announcements when it comes to Seabourn Expedition. So let's dive right in. So I'm going to talk a lot about the new ships, Seabourn Venture and Seabourn Pursuit, but I always like to mention that Seabourn is not new to the expedition operation side. Actually, this year we are celebrating our 11th season operating down in Antarctica with Seabourn Quest. And then we also launched in 2015 our Ventures by Seabourn program, which brought the expedition team, Zodiacs, kayaks to some of our ocean ships in other destinations like Alaska. And then 2018, we announced that we were going to build our two purpose-built and designed ships for Seabourn for our expedition itineraries, and that's what we're going to focus on today. So what's really great, Seabourn Venture and Seabourn Pursuit are true sister ships. They are identical in layout, in suite categories, public spaces, just a little bit of design changes when it comes to artwork and some of the theming of some of the venues, but makes it very easy to understand the Seabourn expedition experience. The other great thing is, all of our ships at Seabourn, including our ocean and expedition ships, were designed and built by us here at Seabourn. So there's a consistent product from our ocean ships to our expedition ships. No matter which ship one of our guests are on, they will feel like they're at home at Seabourn, and you'll see some of that through some of the photos that I share. Both ships, 132 suites, 264 guests, PC6 strengthened hull. That just allows us to operate the fun ice itineraries, the Arctic, the Antarctic, the Northwest Passage. Also allows us to do the maneuver where we put the ship into some sea ice and open the shell door and allow the guests to walk right off the ship onto the ice, which is actually how we christened Seabourn Venture last November down in Antarctica. One of the things that really stood out to me when I first got on board Seabourn Venture was all the outdoor space, and that was all done by design by our expedition team that's shoreside that was involved in designing these vessels for a true and uncompromised expedition experience. And there's 30,000 square feet of outdoor deck space, and from a lot of the public spaces you can get outside quickly. And to be honest, that's where you want to be in many of these destinations with the expedition team, outside, spotting wildlife and taking in the beautiful scenery. And then, of course, going to very remote destinations, custom built to environmental compliance, not only from a ship operations perspective, but we also do have a dedicated environmental officer on both Seabourn Venture and Pursuit. So really excited, Seabourn Venture launched last July of 2022 and already winning awards as Best New Expedition Ship at the 2023 Wave Awards. So we were very excited for that. And then Seabourn Pursuit is now here. She actually was delivered early. She sailed on time, and her first 5-6 voyages were sold out or very full. So we were really excited to have her launch and join the fleet because she is early. She is doing a few Mediterranean voyages right now that we kind of had to add to the already launched expedition itineraries when we found out she was going to be early. And then she's going to cross down to Miami through the Caribbean and make her way down to Antarctica, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So I'm just going to switch over to an introductory video on Seabourn Pursuit.
Seabourn presents a true, unmatched, ultra-luxury expedition experience. Seabourn Pursuit and Seabourn Venture.
Welcome to Seabourn Pursuit, our newest purpose-built ultra-luxury expedition ship. She's the very best of both worlds, from the creative mind of famed designer Adam Tihany. The ship's design is as inspiring to the senses as the places she explores. Built for diverse environments to PC6 ice-strengthened hull standards, our state-of-the-art ship was designed with Seabourn guests in mind. Extraordinary people looking for out-of-the-ordinary experiences. Travelers seeking life-expanding moments, unexpected discoveries, and meaningful connections.
This vessel is equipped with zodiacs, kayaks, submarines, and really allow our guests to explore in some of the most remote destinations in the world. Whether you want to go kayaking, whether you want to do submarine dives and explore the ocean, this ship has been built for you to explore both above and below the surface. Delivering that experience on board Seabourn Pursuit is our 24-man expedition team. The expedition team on this vessel is large, and we do that very specifically to have a great diversity of skills within the expedition team. We have ornithologists, marine biologists, geologists, climatologists, a real core team that delivers these incredible experiences.
And when back aboard, enjoy the seamless experience of all-inclusive, warm and authentic signature Seabourn service, personalized for today's luxury traveler. Please join me as we explore our beautiful, new, ultra-luxury, yacht-like expedition ship. Welcome to Seabourn Pursuit.
All right, what a great video. I enjoy that. Hope you did as well. Let's dive into the ships themselves and talk about some of the differentiators and how they really elevate the luxury onboard experience and the expedition shoreside experience. As we enter the ships, the first lounge that the guests are going to see is our expedition lounge. As you can tell, very warm, very inviting. It's a really great place in the evenings to have a cocktail. We'll have musical entertainment here. We actually have 3 different musical entertainment acts on board the ships. And so here it's great to enjoy a cocktail, share stories or pictures with your fellow guests. Also, it's conveniently located 1 deck above the landing zone, which is our mud rooms on board Venture and Pursuit. So you can put on any last, yes.
This is Johanna. Could you just share your presentation with us one more time, just on your screen?
Yes, let me redo that.
Perfect, now we can see it.
Great, sorry about that, thank you.
No, you're okay.
All right, so this, yes, as I was mentioning, the Expedition Lounge, really great space, but just one lounge forward from here, we have our Discovery Center. The Discovery Center is kind of a heartbeat of the ship because it's here that each and every evening, the expedition leader and his or her team will have the recap and briefing. As you notice, and you'll see when I share some itineraries coming up, some of them are a bit vague, maybe 5 days exploring Antarctic Peninsula or 3 days exploring Northeast Greenland National Park. So it's here that the expedition leader, his or her team, will gather all the guests and let them know what the plan is for the next day. Typically, we'll talk about what we did that day. There might be a short 10-15 minute lecture from one of the experts as part of the expedition team, and then we'll talk about the plans for the next day, what the weather, sea, ice conditions are looking like, and what time we expect to start our operation so the guests can plan for the following day. Also, probably one of my favorite features here is on the mast of the vessel, we have a Cineflex camera mounted so that even when wildlife is a bit farther from the ship, we can still capture that and bring it here into the Discovery Center. I had a really great opportunity to be on board Seabourn Venture in the Arctic in the end of the last Arctic season. And we saw, of course, a handful of polar bears. One of them was spotted quite a distance away from the ship while we were going between sites. So we were able to turn on the Cineflex camera, zoom right in on it, clear as day, and live stream that here to the Discovery Center, where our polar bear expert from the expedition team was interacting with the guests, explaining what they felt the bear's age was, whether it had eaten recently, why it was behaving a certain way. So it was a great way to combine the knowledge of of the expedition team with the wildlife, even while we're on board the ship sailing between destinations. That same live feed, when we're streaming it, also goes into each and every guest suite TV. So even if you are enjoying your suite, you could just turn that on and enjoy the views as well. Then we also have, equally as important, our dining venues on board. All of them are complimentary. None of them require additional charge or advanced reservations. Makes it very easy for a free-flowing expedition experience on board. Here is our main restaurant, and this is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, of course, rotating menus. Then we also have the patio, the outdoor part of the colonnade, where we have our pool and 2 hot tubs as well. The pool is heated for those guests that still want to enjoy it in some of the colder regions. We also will do some deck parties here. Seabourn is well known for caviar in the surf. Here in many destinations, we can't do that, so we'll do caviar in the ice and invite the guests to put on their parkas, their hat, their gloves, come out here and enjoy join the expedition team, officers, staff, and crew. For caviar, champagne, other cocktails and canapes. A really great evening. Also, it's the level of detail, even above the seating area and the patio area, there is heaters in the ceiling, so keep you nice and warm. If we go inside the doors here, we have the colonnade, another one of our dining venues that's open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For breakfast and lunch, there is a smaller menu at the table, but also the European bistro setup that guests can choose items that they would like from that section. But in the evening time, it is all sit-down menu service. And then if you're familiar with our ocean ships, we do have earth and ocean dining concept on our ocean ships. We don't have a dedicated space for that here on Expedition for Seabourn Venture and Pursuit, but we do rotate the earth and ocean menus on select nights throughout the expedition here in the colonnade. Another loved space coming over from our ocean ships is Seabourn Square. Of course, a great lounge area to read a book. We have our coffee shop where we roast our own coffee right there on board the ship. Also have breakfast pastries, fresh squeezed juices in the morning. In the afternoon, you'll have finger sandwiches and some homemade gelato that we make right on board the ship. And this is also where reception is and the future cruise booking desk. So when your clients book their next voyage on board, which of course goes right back to you, they can do that here in Seabourn Square as well. One of my favorite lounges, the bow lounge, located deck 6 all the way forward. You have access to the full bow of the ship, unobstructed views, great for photography, wildlife spotting, and just enjoying the beautiful destinations. But inside you have that row of monitors there. So those are mirror images from the bridge, and those are weather maps, nautical maps, and as the navigational team is maneuvering that, you see all those in real time. The expedition team will also be in here during scheduled times for navigational Q&A, not only answering questions about what they're seeing on the screens, but anything else that the guests may want to inquire about. I also noticed, and another thing I loved about the Seabourn Expedition experience is the expedition team is always out and about. So they're hanging out in this lounge, in the bow lounge, having a cocktail with our guests, maybe having a hosted table with them. So there's lots of time for the guests to really enjoy their knowledge and experience. This lounge also has a full water machine. It's got snacks, soft drinks throughout the day. So it's a great lounge for these expedition voyages. Of course, being a brand new luxury ship, we have a full spa, salon, and fitness center. Beautiful saunas here with the windows, so you're not missing out on the beautiful destinations, and a really great place to go after doing the polar plunge, either in the Arctic or the Antarctic. But even from the gym, you have access to an outdoor kind of balcony area. So if wildlife is spotted while you're working out, you can even head out real quick and not miss out on the opportunity. Another lounge we have is the club and sushi bar. So this is this is a dinner option, usually between 6 and 9 p.m. It's open for sushi, again, complimentary. For me, there's no better way than ending a busy expedition day than here in the club, enjoying some sushi, a glass of wine, and then we also have musical entertainment here as well. So that means down in the expedition lounge, here in the club, and then also here in the Constellation Lounge, we'll have 3 different musical entertainment acts rotating through these lounges. And then we also will have, of course, lectures from the expedition team in the Discovery Center. There may also be some other shows put on throughout the voyage in the Discovery Center. So a lot of evening entertainment for those guests looking to stay up, but of course those that want to have a more relaxed night can do that as well. And here are the suites on board. They're absolutely beautiful. This is our lead-in category, our veranda suite, 355 square feet, including the veranda. We don't have any inside or windows, so we start right out in the veranda category. Probably the most comfortable bed I've ever slept in on land or sea. Beautiful interactive TV for your movies. Again, watching the Cineflex camera when that's in use. But again, another differentiator that I absolutely love, each and every suite has this warming closet. So it's really important on those polar voyages, as a lot of the times we're doing multiple outings a day. So usually one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Another great example, when I was in the Arctic, I was out on one of the first Zodiacs going out to about 7:30 in the morning, came back after a few hours, put the parka in here, also put my hat and my gloves in here, turned it on, went and enjoyed a coffee in Seabourn Square and then some lunch. And by the time they were calling us for the afternoon outing, not only was it dry, but it was warm for putting it back on and heading out again. So it's these little differentiators that really elevate the Seabourn expedition experience. Another suite category, this one's new to Seabourn on our expedition ships, is the Panorama Suite. Absolutely beautiful, one of my favorite suite categories. A lot of natural light from that floor to ceiling windows. You still have your full balcony. The tub in the bathroom has a window out so you can enjoy the views as you're enjoying the tub. But also it's the only suite category that doesn't have wall-to-wall carpeting. It has tile made to look like wood floors, and the tile can be heated. So you can just imagine waking up and having nice warm floors to walk on when you're sailing in those colder destinations. But for those clients that are looking for a little bit more space, we do have our penthouse suites. This has a little bit more of a separated bedroom living room area and about a total of 527 square feet. And we continue on to another suite category is our owner suites. There's two of these located all the way forward. You have your full separate bedroom, living room area, beautiful forward balconies, great spaces for those guests looking for a little bit more space, as this one's about 1,023 square feet. And then we have probably another one of my favorites. These are two-story winter garden suites, and you have 2 stories of floor-to-ceiling windows, so you can imagine the natural light, the beautiful scenery of these stunning destinations that we're sailing through. On the first floor, you have your living room area, dining room, kitchen area. The second floor is your bedroom. Of course, it's all automated from automatic drapes that open and close. The TV pops up from the stand at the end of the bed there. It's just an amazing way to explore these destinations. And then our top suite, our signature suites, located all the way in the aft of the vessel. Again, these are your larger with the extra bedroom, living room area, a very large balcony. Total square feet is 1,377 square feet. And on the verandas on these 2 suites, the signature suites, they have private jacuzzi tubs. So a really great way to explore. So as you can see, we are continuing on the award-winning luxury Seabourn onboard experience, but we are matching that with an uncompromised expedition experience. And that's really done by our amazing expedition team that you heard Robin West. He's our VP of Expeditions, who's been in the industry for decades on board ships and helping us create the really a second to none expedition experience. And it's the team of 24 expedition experts. They're ornithologists, glaciologists, historians, people who have dedicated their lives to the regions that we're sailing, and they're excited to share that with all of our guests on board. So it's these expedition leaders that will, of course, do lectures on board the ship, but will bring the guests out into the destination, whether it's kayaking in the submersibles, hikes ashore. It's all with this amazing group of people. So the destinations that we sail, so Seabourn Venture is actually finishing up the Arctic season. She just is currently actually on the Northwest Passage voyage, which is really exciting. It's a first for Carnival Corporation, for any of the corporation's vessels to be doing the Northwest Passage. So I've been keeping a close eye on her movements throughout there. And you know, I mentioned this at the end, but make sure you're following us on social media. Some absolutely beautiful pictures and imagery coming from the ship as she navigates this fabled passage. But the Arctic season that runs during North America's summer, of course, we have a lot of great voyages from Iceland to Greenland, but I like to highlight the one on the top right, which is almost a complete circumnavigation of Iceland, so which has been very popular, but also it goes up and spends some time in Scoresby Sund, which is the largest fjord system in the world, a really great itinerary for polar bear spotting, icebergs, sea ice, and just the true remote Arctic region. It's such a phenomenal small part of the world. But we also have our Greenland itineraries, like the first two that you see there. Those are going to explore some of the Inuit communities and visit with them, learn about their culture, their way of life in these remote destinations. And it's really one of the aspects I love about the Arctic is you get the remoteness, but you also get some culture and a way of life that you don't get down in Antarctica. Of course, we have our Northwest Passage voyages, and then when Venture ends the Northwest Passage, she's just going to head on down south along the west coast of the United States, South America, and into Antarctica for the upcoming season. Next year, we do return back to Svalbard. So for those guests looking for Svalbard itineraries, we have those next summer. Really excited to return there. Seabourn Venture's inaugural season in the Arctic had them. We did not have them this season. And then, like I mentioned, we're excited to return to Svalbard next season. We also have some other voyages that really don't seem maybe like expedition voyages, like this 28-day voyage here. It's actually a combination of 2 voyages that pretty much circumnavigate the UK. Really great for photography, birders. There's puffin opportunities on this itinerary. We did these this past May and got really, really great reviews from the guests. So really great opportunities for those guests looking for something different. And then the bottom right, we have, this is actually the voyage I did last September on Seabourn Venture. Really phenomenal. You get Western Greenland, the culture there, the communities. Then you cross Baffin Bay and the Davis Strait and head over into the Canadian Arctic, Crocker Bay, Dundas Harbor, Pond Inlet. We actually saw a pod of beluga whales up in the Canadian Arctic. It was a phenomenal day before the ship ends in St. John's and makes her way down to Antarctica again. So I like to just share a few photos of the Arctic taken from Seabourn Venture. And these are, of course, the wildlife, the king of the north, the polar bear, but there's other great wildlife here from the reindeers, walruses, seals, countless bird life. But the scenery is just stunning from the glaciers, the icebergs, the geological formations, a really beautiful destination. And we're going out in the Zodiacs with the expedition team. Of course, all of that's included for the guests. We're going ashore. We're meeting with the communities up there. And one of my favorite pictures here is Navrana. She was part of our expedition team last season, and she is from West Greenland. She's pictured here in Ittukatormit, which is East Greenland. It's actually the entrance into Northeast Greenland National Park in Scoresby Sund. And she was so excited to be there because I believe she said it was going to take her something like 7 flights to get from West Greenland to East Greenland. So she had never seen this part of Greenland before. And it just goes to show, not only is she sharing on board and ashore with our guests, but she's also, benefiting from these types of amazing voyages. This is up in Northeast Greenland National Park. I just love it. It really shows the power of nature and how small we really are compared to some of these icebergs that are floating around up there. And as I mentioned, going ashore with the expedition team, learning about the flora, the fauna, the geological formations, why it's structured this way. You have the beautiful layer cake geology here. Just a stunning destination. But we also do have our kayaking program up here in the Arctic. We have I believe 2 kayak guides that have really experienced kayaking in the Arctic, the Northwest Passage, Antarctica. And what they do is they scout each day the region that we're in. They'll bring the guest out to the best place and set up the kayaking, of course, giving them an opportunity to really enjoy the moment of being on the water in this remote destination, but also pointing out the wildlife, the geological structures, the destination that they're in. So it is a very immersive experience. And we also have our submersible operations in the Arctic. Really, really exciting for those guests who are not scuba divers. I myself am not one, but I did have the opportunity to go into submersibles before, and it's just an amazing experience. You do have to be a bit more active as you board them via Zodiac while the submersible's in the water, and then you lower yourself down through the hatch in the center picture there, down the couple of steps, and sit down into your seat. The seats actually rotate outwards once everyone's there, so you're looking out the acrylic sphere, which is the same transparency as water. So as we dive under the water, it virtually disappears and you get this stunning view of exploring under the water. A lot of the times guests will ask, what are we going to see when we go under there? And truthfully, the answer is we don't know. And it's not because we haven't researched, we're not planning. It's because a lot of these destinations, especially in the remote regions, have never been dived before. Or even with currents and ice movements, even between dives on the same day, it could be very different. So it really is a true expedition experience. And then we'll just talk about our Antarctic voyages here for a moment. Of course, all of these voyages that start and end in Ushuaia, the package actually includes a one-night pre-hotel stay in Buenos Aires and a round-trip charter flight. So makes getting to and from the region very easy. Guests just have to worry about booking their international air to and from Buenos Aires, and then they're with us for their charter flight down and their voyage, and then the charter flight back. So once we get down there, of course, we're looking for great wildlife. You have the penguin colonies of the Gentoo penguin, the Adélie penguin, and the chinstrap penguins that are most common here on the peninsula. But other great wildlife from the fur seals, crab-eater seals, orca whales, other whales that may be migrating through the season. It's just a stunning destination. I also like to highlight a couple of unique voyages. These are the first voyages of the season for both Venture and Pursuit. For Venture, it's October 31st, a wonderful itinerary that starts in Santiago, goes south through the Chilean fjords, explores the Antarctic Peninsula, and then ends in Ushuaia with, of course, the charter flight back to Buenos Aires. We did this voyage last year on Seabourn Venture, and it was so well received by the guests. Then we have Pursuit. She's going to be coming down the east coast of South America. So her first voyage that goes to Antarctica starts in Rio, stops in the Falkland Islands, heads down and explores the peninsula, and then ends in Ushuaia. So again, for those guests that may have been down there before and are looking for something different, we do have a few of those voyages. Once we're down there, we have three different voyage types that both Seabourn Venture and Pursuit will do. The most common is the 11-day Great White Continent expedition. This is a voyage that gives us 5 full days of exploring the continent and the peninsula of Antarctica. Doing multiple activities a day, could be multiple landings, could be a landing in the morning and a Zodiac cruise in the afternoon, just depending on the location that we're in that day. Of course, we have our kayaks and our submersibles operating here as well. And then the other itineraries we have a 13-day, so that gives us a full 7 days of exploring the peninsula. What we can do with these 2 extra days and extra time here is we can either go south below the Lemire Channel, which is a phenomenal sail through. It's a really narrow channel. And then we could possibly cross down below the Antarctic Circle. All of it depends on sea weather and ice conditions, of course. The other option we can spend some time doing is going up into the northeast part of the peninsula and exploring into the Weddell Sea. This is what we did actually on Venture's inaugural sailing down. And so we actually put her into the ice here in the Weddell Sea, which is where we christened her with a block of ice, of course. And then just to make the day perfect, because it was early on in the season, and this is an extremely rare occurrence, but as the ship was sailing away after all the festivities, I believe it was 3 emperor penguins were spotted, which was really just the perfect way to end an expedition day exploring that region. And then we have 2 of these 21-day voyages. This is really the crown jewel itinerary of Antarctica. Of course, you have your peninsula and everything I mentioned so far, but then you go and explore the Falkland Islands, Port Stanley, and then over to South Georgia. South Georgia is such a beautiful destination, more biodiverse than the Galapagos, but really here, the highlight is landing at a few landing sites, and you can see pictured here, there's about a 250,000 or 250,000 breeding pairs of king penguins, so about 500,000 penguins. These are about 3-4 feet tall penguins. It's just a stunning view and arrival at the landing site. There's also elephant seals on the beach greeting you, other wildlife. It's really made even National Geographic photographers, shed a tear when they arrive here. So a really beautiful destination to explore. And then here's just a larger photo to kind of give you the grasp and the scope of how many king penguins are at the landing sites here. And then I mentioned, of course, going out in Zodiac, all that's complimentary for the guests, going ashore and doing hikes and walks, depending on the mobility of the guests. I always like to mention that. I think sometimes expedition kind of gets the misconception that it's very active. I've been down to Antarctica with guests in their 80s and 90s. And what's really great is, yes, when we go ashore, we do have a couple hours to spend ashore. We may do hikes. If certain guests don't want to or can't, they're more than welcome to stay right there at the beach and enjoy the penguins going to and from from their colonies. And then the expedition team is always there, and if they want to go back a little early, they're more than welcome to, and the expedition team will have a Zodiac there to take them back. So we try to be as flexible as possible so all guests can enjoy their experience. But nothing like kayaking down in Antarctica and having a whale breach near you. It truly is a life-changing moment for many guests. But just to touch on a few other destinations, of course, I talked about the Arctic and Antarctica. That's going to be Seabourn Venture. She's going to pretty much go north and south. So going from the Arctic down to Antarctica and back up north. Seabourn Pursuit also going to be in Antarctica, but at the end of the season, instead of going north, she's going to head west from Santiago through the French Polynesia, Tahiti, wonderful warm weather expedition voyages, great for snorkeling, scuba diving, and really for guests that maybe they don't love the idea of traveling in a colder climate for their expedition. We certainly have those warm weather options. She continues on through the Solomon Islands and ultimately into the Kimberley coast of Australia. Really stunning destination over there. As I mentioned, South Pacific and Kimberleys. The Kimberley itineraries are 10 days, great voyages for the North American market. With travel time, you're looking at maybe about 2 weeks, but it's a really stunning destination. Here, we don't do scuba diving or snorkeling. There are saltwater crocodiles, so these are Zodiac experiences, landings ashore, really enjoying the beautiful scenery here, the wildlife from the horizontal falls, Hunter River, Montgomery Reef, Mitchell Falls, with possible optional helicopter experiences to take in this destination from above, Freshwater Cove, just a really great way to explore. And Seabourn Pursuit will be the newest ship exploring this region, so it really will be the best and most luxurious way to explore. Of course, the pool at the back of Seabourn Pursuit will be a welcome retreat as it is dry season here. It's warm, and of course you can't go swimming in a lot of the places due to the crocodiles. So really great way to explore. And then I also just wanted to give a sneak peek of some of our upcoming deployment. Currently scheduled to open October 3rd for our Seabourn Club members. Those are our past guests. And then on October 18th for our general public guests. This is our 25-26 deployment. A lot of the great itineraries that I've mentioned are included, but a big highlight is we are going to be doing 2 Northwest Passage itineraries. This year, we're just doing the one. Next year, 2024, we don't have it on the itinerary deployment, but in 2025, we will have 2 Northwest Passage itineraries. We've seen great demand for them. They are, kind of that bucket list itinerary and destination. So Seabourn Venture will sail through from West Greenland through the Northwest Passage and then turn around and sail back again. So there'll be lots of opportunities for that. We will return to the Amazon, the Arctic, including Svalbard and Greenland that I mentioned. Both ships back down in Antarctica, offering those 11, 13, and 21-day itineraries. Back to the Kimberley coast of Australia for Seabourn Pursuit. Again, going back and forth between South America and the Kimberley coast, we'll have those great South Pacific warm weather expedition voyages for scuba diving, snorkeling, and also some culture on those itineraries. And then back up to the British Isles and Iceland as well. So stay tuned, make sure you're signed up with Seabourn to get our emails, and you're following us on social media so you can get all those announcements as they will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. So a couple of partnerships that I do like to mention as well. In the polar regions, all of our guests do get the Helly Hansen parka. Now the parka is complimentary and you do order it online and then it'll be in the suite waiting for the guests. There is a sizing chart to help order the right size. However, there's also a stock on board. So there is an opportunity the first day for the guests to try them on. And if they need to go up a size or down a size, it's no worries. There's a time to exchange there. We also, each and every suite on board the ship has a pair of Swarovski binoculars, really great quality binoculars. We have a great partnership with them. There's also, the team has some spotting scopes to use throughout the voyage. And then if the guests do love them, they can actually purchase them at a discounted rate through our partnership right there on board in the shop. Also on these polar voyages, we do provide a beanie hat and a dry bag. So the hat, the dry bag, the parka, and the water bottle that you see here, the stainless steel water bottle. Of course, having no disposable plastics on board, all guests on all voyages get the water bottle, and we have refilling stations throughout the ship. Those are all complimentary, and the guests can take them home and enjoy them. The binoculars, of course, have to stay on board unless they would like to purchase some through the shop. But we also have the boots. So for the voyages that require the muck boots, we have a full supply on board. So no need to worry about renting them, bringing them, packing them. I know sometimes packing for these longer itineraries can be a challenge. The guests simply arrive to the ship. They will be invited down to the landing zone for what I like to call a boot fitting party, just to make it sound a little fun. And the expedition team will have them try on the boots to get a nice fit for them. And then there's a storage space for each suite to keep their boots down there. Of course, your other gear, your parka, your hat, gloves, you'll want to bring that up and put it in the warming closet up in your suite. So with that, just to kind of wrap it up, and I'll just touch on a few more topics, but the Seabourn Expedition difference is really combining that true luxury Seabourn experience on board with an uncompromised expedition experience ashore for all of our guests. All of our ships, as I mentioned, were built for Seabourn. They have the Seabourn feel, and Seabourn Venture and Pursuit were designed by our expedition team to really have this free-flowing experience. So our ships, our 24-person expedition team, we have 24 Zodiacs. Those are Mark 5, Mark 6 Zodiacs, so it really supports the operations quite well. That's going to be, guests landing ashore, guests going on the kayaking, guests going into submersible. All of that is supported by the expedition team and the kayaks, which is all and the Zodiacs, which is all happening at once. So a really great large team and a great fleet of Zodiacs. Our sea kayaks, our submersibles, and the all-inclusive onboard experience. Really excited. Seabourn has changed from Go Seabourn to OneSource. We've joined our sister brands on OneSource. You're automatically directed when you go to Go Seabourn, which is our travel advisor site, now to OneSource, and you use the same login credentials that you were using for Go Seabourn. It's a really great resource. If you're not signed up, highly recommend that you do. Not only does it have all of our trainings, but our photos, a cruise image library of great imagery from the ships and destinations, videos, also all of our marketing materials, but Polar Online as well, which is our online booking engine that you can book both our ocean and expedition voyages 24 hours a day. There is one little caveat that I like to just point out here. When you're booking an expedition voyage for Seabourn Venture or Pursuit, that does have the included charter flights and hotel. There is a different a cruise tour number that you need to include when searching here. And it says here in the green box, click here for information for Seabourn Venture and Pursuit. And when you click there, a pop-up will come up with all the voyages that have this cruise tour code. So you just find your voyage date, the 3-digit code to the far right. Just note that and put it in the cruise tour box when you click search, and your voyage will come up. We are looking at enhancing this to make it a much easier process, and I was excited to see some of the demos recently, and it's going to be extremely smooth process. But for now, I just like to highlight that one difference between booking a Seabourn Ocean and expedition voyage. I mentioned our social media. Steve Smotris, our amazing VP of Sales, he has our Seabourn Partnerships Facebook page, so be sure that you follow that for all the latest and greatest information. We also have the standard public Seabourn Facebook page, Instagram. We do a lot of great photography images on our Instagram page. Of course, Twitter is there as well. And just to finalize some of the promotions we have, our Sail to Remember promotion. This is our broad promotion that is available on a lot of voyages and a lot of expedition itineraries. Select 23, 24 itineraries, including Arctic, Antarctica. Now it is currently set to expire tomorrow, but I don't want to spoil it. It will likely be extended for a very brief period of time, but not for very long. So you may have a little bit more time than tomorrow, but take a look at it if you have clients that may be interested. And then for a bit more narrow of applicable voyages, we do have our finale sale. This is kind of an evergreen promotion that we have at Seabourn. It's for closer in voyages, so voyages between now and the end of the year. This promotion really provides just the best rate possible with up to 30% savings, but it is a fully non-refundable fare. It's not combinable with a lot of other promotions and shipboard credits. It really is just for those guests looking to go closer in and they just want the best price to do so, and that's our finale sale. So there's some great voyages that are applicable to that. And then I was really excited that we are offering an offer for solo travelers. Now, a lot of times, having worked in expedition for quite a while myself, I know the solo supplements tend to be a bit high for expedition as they are smaller voyages. We do have a great solo supplement of 125%, so just 25% above the double occupancy rate. And that's on many great voyages, Antarctica this upcoming season, next summer's Arctic voyage. So if you have solo clients, there's no better time to book. You have until September 13th to book a Seabourn expedition. So with that, I just want to thank you again. I hope you found this information helpful and useful. We would look forward to working with you at Seabourn and welcoming your clients on Seabourn Venture or Pursuit in the near future. And with that, I would love to answer any questions we may have. Also, in the handouts part of this webinar section, we do have the PDF flyers for the 3 promotions that I mentioned. Also, they are on OneSource that you can grab them from there as well.
Thank you so much, Mark. That was a great presentation. I'm sure they came away with tons of new information that they didn't know about the excursions and the expeditions. We do have a couple questions here regarding the expeditions. Could you speak about any packing suggestions for the guests or any requirements for physical ability to go on those expeditions or any age requirements that Seabourn has?
Absolutely. Great questions. First with packing, I know sometimes it could be a daunting task, especially with the polar regions, but really my best advice is it's quality over quantity. You really don't need a lot. As you can see, your parkas, your parka will be on the ship. The boots are on the ship. You really just need great water-resistant gloves, maybe like a neck gaiter or a scarf. It can get a little chilly sometimes when you're zooming around in the Zodiacs. And then, of course, water-resistant pants. That's to have a complete water-resistant outside layer with your gloves, your parka, and pants is really the best thing you can do. And then other than that, you know, we don't have formal nights on board Seabourn expeditions, so that is a differentiator from our ocean product. So you don't have to worry about formal attire. When it comes to age restrictions, we have a minimum age of 6. So as long as the children are over 6, they're welcome to come on board. Unfortunately, we can't take anyone younger than that. It's just for safety. And then the only caveat is once they're on board, if we're in the polar regions to do kayaking, you do have to wear a dry suit. And the smallest we have is an adult small. So they would have to fit into that. If they can't, then they wouldn't be able to do the kayaking, but they're certainly welcome to go in the Zodiacs and go ashore and all that. When it comes to mobility, as I mentioned, I think most guests, even with some limited mobility, can enjoy an expedition voyage. Getting in and out of the Zodiacs is really quite simple. With the Zodiac shell door, pretty much opens level with the top of the Zodiac. There's 4 people helping each and every guest in and out of the Zodiac, both from the ship to the Zodiac and from the Zodiac ashore. So there's always a lot of great help. And like I said, even if you just want to step foot on, say, Antarctica or your 7th continent, enjoy watching the penguins for a little bit and then head back, you're certainly welcome to do that. Or of course, if you have the stamina and the desire, you can spend the full couple of hours or go on the hike or what have you. So really, it really just depends on the guest, but I think most guests would enjoy an expedition.
Great, thank you so much for that. The next question that we had was regarding food on board. Could you speak about how you all at Seabourn accommodate special diets like food allergies, kosher, or people who are plant-based?
Absolutely, yeah, and we can really accommodate most dietary requirements. Being a small ship, we don't have a separate kosher kitchen, so that is one thing to keep in mind, but any other type of dietary restrictions, the team on board is always eager. Make sure you let us know when you're making the reservations if your clients have any dietary restrictions, but also once you get on board, just let the team know. The chef will meet with your clients and we'll make sure that they have all their requests taken care of. There's quite a great variety of food on board and they'll do their best to accommodate any other requests. You know, sailing some very remote, maybe even longer itineraries, you know, might get a little more difficult, but just let us know ahead of time and we'll always do our best to accommodate.
Great, thanks so much, Mark. One other question, or I think it would be good for the attendees to hear about, is your experience on board, your favorite expedition, your favorite experience with Seabourn, with food, with the excursions. I know that you spoke about the submersive pod, but anything else that you'd like to share, I think would be good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so difficult. I guess it's kind of like having a favorite child. It's hard to pick one itinerary, but each destination is simply amazing. I mean, Antarctica, going and stepping foot on the peninsula for the first time and seeing the penguins, the wildlife is nonstop. It's really like you're on a different planet. So Antarctica is up there, but even the Arctic, I love. I know I mentioned it earlier, but just getting both that remoteness, but also meeting with the cultures, the Inuit communities of Greenland. They put on a cultural performance. They're excited to show you their village and their way of life up there. It's a really great destination too. And then for those warm weathers through the French Polynesia, the Kimberley, for the guests looking for warm weather, they're all, and that's why I love Expedition and why I kind of fell into it, is there are so many great opportunities and itineraries for clients. I know luxury travelers have been a lot of places, and that's why, I usually say with Expedition, well, let's look at our deployment. I bet I can find a place you haven't been or you haven't explored as immersely as maybe you have in the past because of the itineraries that we have. The food on board is phenomenal. I love sushi, so I think I mentioned it, the best way to end a day: sushi, wine, musical entertainment on board. There's 235 crew members, I believe is the number, for 264 guests. So the crew is just warm, welcoming, and they almost think, they pick up on things and they know what you want before you even realize it a lot of the time. So to me, it's just the great, it's an award-winning experience when you match that onboard experience with that uncompromised expedition shoreside with the team. I've worked with some of the team that we have on board our ships over the years, so I know they're a really great, proven expedition team, and they're excited to welcome clients on board.
Thank you for sharing all that great information. I do want to let you know that we did have an attendee here say that the webinar was great. You are very knowledgeable. You provide the information amazingly, and they just want to thank you for hosting today, Mark.
Thank you so much for those kind words, and I appreciate it. And we look forward to working with all of you. If you're not sure who your sales representative is, just email us sales@seabourn.com and we'll connect you right away. And then, of course, you're always welcome to reach out to myself. Thank you again for your time.
Mark, did you have any contact information that they could write down just so that they could see it, or if you want to repeat it one more time just for the attendees, just so that they have it?
Absolutely. Yeah, the best, easiest one is sales@seabourn.com if you're unsure who your contact is. SALES, sales@seabourn.com. And then we'll connect you with your sales representative, and then also myself. I support our global sales team, so no matter where you are, they all know me. So if you have specific questions or you want specific answers or get on the phone, just let them know. I'm always available and enjoy talking with you guys.
Alrighty. Well, if you don't have any other closing remarks, Mark, I think all of our attendees have asked or gotten all of their questions answered. So I thank you again for sharing all this information about Seabourn. And so we will see you next time.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.